I know. Ever since the Epstein stuff has happened, it's been very interesting seeing everything unfold. They had a big hearing. Essentially, Pam Bondi, who is the head of the DOJ, and I believe she's the Attorney General, so pretty much the highest office in the land when it comes to the law.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, oh, I did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
You're a lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Committee will be in
You're
the rules.
obsessed with Donald Trump. You have Trump derangement syndrome. All of you who participated in those impeachment hearings against Donald Trump, you all should be apologizing. You sit here and you attack the president, and I am not going to have it. I'm not going to put up with it. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about.
I've never heard that pedo shit is acceptable because the stock market is doing great. I've heard a lot. Oh, your groceries suck? The stock market. Oh, your rent is going up? The stock market. So the kids are getting diddled? Man, have you seen the S&P? Up 500. Now we're going to be able to afford 5 more kids on the island. And we're in uncharted territory. And the irony is, the main people who benefit from the S&P and the stock market are the exact kind of people who diddle kids. You know what else was actually in the Epstein file? A lot of insider trading. It is always great to know that everyone's got to play by the rules, and you got all these people who just get richer off the fact that they use their governmental position to enrich themselves and their pedo buddies.
And meanwhile, you're at home being stupid, try to save your money just to buy a home and play by the books.
God damn. She was asked to come in and testify in regards to the new parts of the Epstein files that were released. Now, some of you be like, well, what happened, but it's nothing. No, there's a lot.
I am now on my way to go look at the unredacted Epstein file.
What I saw that bothered me were the names of at least 6 men that have been redacted that are likely incriminated by their inclusion in these files.
Donald Trump's name is all over these files.
They were able to get their hands on the unredacted files, which is a big deal because apparently, even though they're supposed to release everything unredacted unless it was a victim's name. Well, tell me how these people not only redacted things when they shouldn't have, but they didn't redact things when they were supposed to. That's right. They dropped the files with the victim's name available to everyone. So imagine you were one of the many girls. Some of you go to the police, you find no sense of justice. Years go by, you see these people enrich themselves. You see some of them become president. You see some of them be doing a lot of different things. And when you just think you're about to get some justice and they're telling you that they're going to take it seriously, they throw your name out to the public so that anyone can harass you and dox you. Now, some of you might be saying, it's a mistake. Don't forget, they used everyone they wanted at the DOJ, everyone at the FBI, and they began redacting this. And they made an intentional choice to hide the name of co-conspirators of Epstein and his trafficking ring. They made very little efforts, or no efforts in many cases, to redact the name of the victims. So when asked about these victims, these little girls, her response is the stock market.
The Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about.
See that little girl in the top left corner? That's from the Epstein files. So when asked about these victims, these little girls, her response is the stock market.
That's what I despise about it. Like, she was asked to cover up, and she needs to die on that hill. That's what she needs to do for the rest of her life. Like, she has to die on that hill. And that's crazy, because you're under oath. You're supposed to apply the law. We ask you something that is very clear, and you go on NASDAQ?
Yeah, she doesn't have to do anything. That's a choice she makes. It's not about politics, it's about character. And there's people who work for Trump who no longer work for him because they said no.
Hey, man,
they threatened to hang Mike Pence because he wouldn't claim that the election was stolen and he was going to certify it. They were chanting on January 6th to have him hanged. You have a choice. That's a choice she made. Yeah. Don't blame politics. You took that money. You accepted it. There are politicians who say no. I mean, you have Howard Lutnick, who is the Secretary of Commerce, huge position to hold in this environment. He was on record talking in the past about Epstein because he was Epstein's neighbor. And I don't mean that like metaphor.
We lived in the same neighborhood, or, you know.
Howard Lutnick, pedophile. That's how close they were. He could fucking put his ear to and hear a little child wailing, okay?
Did they see it and ignore it, or?
No, they participated.
Right.
That's what his MO was, get a massage, get a massage. And what happened in that massage room, I assume was on video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever.
Without providing evidence, Lutnick saying he believes Epstein may have traded alleged blackmail videos for a lesser prison sentence.
So guys, remember, they all said there was no blackmail list, right? They're all saying that he trafficked himself. Here's the Secretary of Commerce who had access to the file, who knew the fucking guy. And he's saying that there was a blackmail list. The most prolific blackmailer of all time.
I assume way back when, they traded those videos in exchange for him getting that 18-month sentence.
He also described Epstein as, quote, gross.
I say to him, massage table in the middle of your house? How often do you have a massage? And he says, every day. And then he gets weirdly close to me.
Ooh.
And he says, and the right kind of massage. My wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person. Really? So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
Did you in fact make the visit to Jeffrey Epstein's private island?
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation.
That is 5 months apart.
I'm going to go a step further. When he made that interview there, that was 5 months ago, right? But he's talking back to a time before Jeffrey Epstein was ever convicted. He's saying, I knew right away what this man was. I knew what he was blackmailing. Post-conviction, in the Epstein file release, you know what they found? This man had been emailing him the whole time. He set up to go to the Epstein Island afterwards. So the man he thought was so nasty, so disgusting.
He was chilling with them.
He took a private jet with his kids and his family.
As were my 4 children and nannies. I had another couple they were there as well with their children, and we had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour, and we left with all of my children, with my nannies and my wife, all together. We were on family vacation. We were not apart. To suggest there was anything untoward about that in 2012.
2012 is
after the conviction of 2009.
For child diddling, okay? So, and he knows, everybody knew at the time. The man he thought was he was having lunch with his family and his kids. And he's telling lies years later. Elon did the same thing. Oh, Trump is in the file. Motherfucker, you begging to get on that fucking island, piece of shit.
Well, you always want, you're not a parent, you don't know. But sometimes you want to get away from your kids.
Yeah, I want to get away from the kids and hang out with pedophiles. I can relate to that.
You want to get away from your kids to get with other kids.
Guys, I'm just going to play the statements from these people. Here is J.D. Vance on Howard Lutnick, because people are calling for his resignation.
Well, I mean, I've been pretty occupied the last couple of days. I haven't seen Howard getting calls to resign. We'll follow the story a little bit more closely as I get on the plane. But, fundamentally, I think the Epstein files, what they reveal is certainly you had a lot of very wealthy and powerful people who were involved in some very disgusting behavior. But I do find it's interesting that the congressional Democrats are so focused on attacking the President of the United States. Who's the president who actually authorized the release of these files?
All right, don't let him tell that lie. He only authorized it because Congress had already voted on it. At that point, it was going to come out. So here he is saying this today, and this is what Kash Patel was saying back then. I want to play that again for you.
Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information.
I just need y'all to help me. How does everyone in this administration talk out of both sides of their mouth, their ears, and booty holes?
We're not helping you understand shit. You already understand. Stop playing.
Just try.
We're not.
He's now Pam Bondi standing in front of the judiciary, and we're going to listen to a couple of clips here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Bondi, I went over to the department yesterday for a couple of hours to review some of the unredacted materials. And I am looking forward to your detailed explanation for why you have withheld almost half of the documents, which is required by the bill. Now, obviously, there are 3 million documents, so I didn't get through much. But one thing I didn't see was the client list that you said you had on your desk a year ago. I did, however, find a couple of important documents. An 86-page prosecution memo from the Southern District of New York, and a draft indictment from Florida against Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirators. For reasons that I cannot understand nor are permitted by the bill, they were still redacted, even for members of Congress. So, Ms. Bondi, will you commit right here to immediately providing those 2 documents in unredacted form to members of Congress? Not a complicated question.
Well, I guess it is for you because you have a law degree and those are privileged.
Okay.
Indictments are not privileged.
Yo. Jasmine's face on that was like, what is this bitch even talking about? What are you on? Jasmine, yo.
I also found an email that I have right here from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell that was unredacted. And it included notes of statements that Donald Trump made about his prior relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, there is no reason for this to be hidden from the American people. There is no privilege, there is no attorney-client privilege, and I see you're checking with your staff, and I can assure you, staff, this is not under attorney-client privilege because it was sent from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell. Will you commit to publicly providing the unredacted version of this so that the American people can understand the extent of Donald Trump's lies about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein?
You're about as good of a lawyer today as you were when you tried to impeach President Trump in 2016. Have you apologized for that in 2019?
So will you unredact this? Will you unredact this?
You were lead counsel on that. Privileged.
I'm asking you, will you unredact this?
Privileged.
That's what I hate. Pause. That is exactly what I hate. It's like it's kindergarten. When you watch wrestling, it's known that it's written. This, it's performative as hell.
These are obviously improper redactions.
And let me stop for a minute.
I'm talking.
If they're not privileged,
quiet.
Don't yell at me. If they're not
Mr. Chairman, would you stop the clock? This is on your time. It's not on Mr. Goldman.
If they're not
privileged, you used your improper redactions.
You'll like my answer.
To continue to.
You know, it is crazy to think that this lady's a lawyer, because if you've ever been on the witness stand, you should know that if you're not being asked a question and the judge doesn't tell you can speak, you don't talk. So it's just funny to watch the general attorney sit here and be this disruptive during a proceeding. But I think it goes to show you all the different lies they're telling, all the fact that they can't even coordinate their lies or all be on the same page. It goes to show you what I've been saying about these people in regards to everything. They're very incompetent. They're incompetent and corrupt. That's it. That's why ICE looks the way that it does. That's why a lot of their operations look the way, and that's why this is happening this way. They're bad at their job and they're corrupt. And when you don't have nobody to check you,
that's what happened. And it's really what bothers me, the back and forth like that when you asking a clear question. That's what politics is. The art of dodging questions in those cases. You know what I mean? Preach. What happened when you did that and when you were, where were you such and such? Did you do what you were supposed to do? Excuse me, sir, you pooed in 94.
The difference here and what's not been heard of is that now we're dealing with somebody who will pardon anyone who's corrupt for him.
Yes.
So they feel emboldened. Because like in previous administrations, you might be afraid of the fact that the next DOJ is going to come and press charges. These guys are not afraid.
And nothing's going to happen to them. They're either waiting for everybody to die and they're lying until everybody dies.
No, I'll try to make
and
money.
They'll protect that. Everybody's going to make money. And when it's going to be done, it's going to be done. And if Trump dies, then everything is going to be thrown under the bus. But he's already dead. So who cares?
Even though you used improper redactions to protect Donald Trump and other predators associated with Jeffrey Epstein, you did the exact opposite thing with the survivors and victims of this scheme. So their identification information was really the only thing required to be redacted, and it was not. And it's clear this was not a mistake. This was not by accident. This was not because you only had 30 days when you really used 75, and that doesn't even include all the hours last March that you were redacting it. But I'll tell you why it's clear it wasn't a mistake. There is an email entitled Epstein Victim List. There are 32 names. 1 is redacted, 31 are not. So someone looked at it and decided to redact something. And I will tell you that that is clearly intentional to intimidate these survivors and victims. Now, in an interview last week...
How will you tell me that's intentional?
In an interview last week, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche...
You can't go off script.
...said that any victim that wants to speak with the department has done so, hopefully. Well, thanks to the incredibly brave people sitting here behind you, we can actually ask them if that's true. Now, would the survivors and victims who are here please stand up one more time? Just by show of hands, how many of you or your loved ones actually have met with the Department of Justice and provided testimony and estimate and evidence? None. And of those of you who have not met, which is everyone, how many of you have reached out either individually or through a lawyer or representative to offer to provide testimony and evidence? All of them. And of those of you, all of you who have reached out, how many of you were denied or ignored by the Department of Justice? All of them. And despite the shameful and despicable efforts by Ms. Bondi and her department to intimidate you, how many of you are still willing to speak to the Department of Justice? All of them. Well, Ms. Bondi, it looks like you have some more witnesses to talk to.
The reason why I want to play that is that the Epstein victims, many of them, a good majority of them, were actually in the courtroom. They were standing back there.
There was one redaction out of over 4,700, and we invited you in.
Was she laughing? What's that?
There was one redaction.
Mind you, like, she's dealing with one of the most prolific sex traffickers and one of the most powerful people who, like, did what he did, and she saw the tapes. And in a hearing, she's laughing.
Well, people laugh for different reasons, not because it's necessarily funny. It looks fucking bad, but...
I'm sorry. No. You are the Attorney General. A modicum of fucking professionalism would be demanded. You're not a fucking dude at Burger King. Sorry. This is your job. You put criminals behind bars. When you're asked by people why victims are not getting justice and you're laughing, that's on you. My bad. I know that you weren't the person who said it, but no. And I only say that because I, as a fucking private in the Army, would have gotten reamed for laughing at an inappropriate time.
You would have.
Okay.
You would have.
Okay.
But you still, people laugh for different reasons. That's a fact. That's a fact. I feel like there's discomfort there and everything, and it's highly unprofessional from her. But yeah, people do laugh for different reasons. It is highly unprofessional for what she's doing.
Okay,
100%.
And considering her attitude throughout the whole hearing, how she treated it as a joke,
yes,
then what she's doing is bad.
I don't see like, ha ha ha, great victims. That's not what I see, but it's still unprofessional. And on top of that, with the way that she's acting and she's been answering and she's been just waving things that is serious thing that's been sent to her. So yes, it is highly unprofessional.
Okay, so she's treating it like a joke. That's what she's doing. She's been treating the whole thing. Hey, rape victims, the stock market is great. You're not taking it seriously. What about these traffic? The Dow Jones is up 500. No. No, that's crazy. I can understand there's nuance to how people react to situations.
Sure.
The bitch knows what she's doing, and she been laughing the whole hearing. Look at her reaction. Someone will ask her a question, be like, "You're a shit lawyer." That's you laughing at the victims. That's you snubbing your nose and saying, "Fuck you guys." Yeah. We good?
What do you mean we're good?
We good?
What do you mean we're good?
Court is adjourned.
No, it's not. Take that back.
700, and we invited you in. This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get, you're a failed politician. I find it interesting that she keeps going after President Trump, the greatest president in American history. And if they could maintain their composure.
Yo, I can't. Wait.
She treats it like a joke.
No. She's a lawyer. She's a lawyer of the devil, Trump. So I'm just trying to be the devil's advocate. That's it.
I'm sorry.
People laugh for a different reason.
All right, I'll just let you have it. No, all these people who are enabling the man and helping him get away with his own pedophilia, they're all the devils themselves too.
Oh, 100%.
This lady, I hope she rots in hell.
Oh, don't wish bad things or fuck that shit. I wish very bad thing on these people, and I wish they suffer.
This is something I also want to pull up. So you guys look right here. Someone took a picture of the folder that she kept opening and looking at. Now you can't see it in this image, but if I switch over to the other MS Paint one right here, that says Jayapala Pramila search history. What are we looking at right here?
What are we looking at over here?
Jayapal Pramila is one of the senators who was grilling Pam Bondi. A lot of the senators got the access to the files unredacted, so they went to court, they went to the DOJ, and they went through the files themselves. They kept tabs on what they looked up, printed out their search history, came here, didn't redact any of it, and then when they showed up here, so you can see the victims' names on some of these files. Why do you think they're keeping the search history of the senators as they're going through this and trying to use it in the court hearing? So they know what kind of questions to be prepared for. They never had any intentions to be transparent. They came out here, and if you look at it, like I'll read some of the stuff to you. It says, I love the torture video from Sultan to Epstein. So, that's stuff they were sending each other.
Mm-hmm.
Someone wrote, thank you for a fun night. Your littlest girl was, and I think the last word's naughty, but I can't make it up.
A little naughty.
Another person wrote, a new Brazilian just arrived, sexy and cute. And I can't see the number. It might be 18, 17. It's hard to say. It just goes to show you the approach that they have and the kind of tabs. They're more concerned with finding out how much the senators know than looking for justice.
Yes.
Here's another part about this that I want to hear.
Pretty much everybody else here and throughout the country believes that convicted sex offenders don't deserve special treatment or privileges in prison. And yet Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, received perk after perk in prison. In July, she had a 2-day interview with your deputy and President Trump's former defense attorney, Todd Blanche. Just days after that, Maxwell was transferred from a federal correctional institution in Florida to a minimum security camp in Texas, which she, as a sex offender, would normally be ineligible for. At this new facility, as the ranking member talked about, and by the way, it's nicknamed Club Fed, we've heard reports that she's been afforded special privileges, puppy time, private workouts, personal mail, secretarial services. Attorney General Bondi, does a convicted sex offender like Ghislaine Maxwell deserve special treatment and privileges in prison? Yes or no?
Let me be crystal clear on this. No. And
Thank you.
let me keep going. No, let me keep going.
Perfect. Well, I
did not know she was being transferred.
I asked you yes or no.
She was not transferred to a lower level.
Some of you might be like, what's going on? You have to remember when you're in court, that's normal. If the lawyer asks you a yes or no question, you can't expand beyond that. That's normal. And she as an attorney knows that. She's trying to filibuster so she can tell you about the stock market.
Or she's trying to mess up her flow and distract her and everybody else from everything, because she knows the protocol. She knows what she's doing.
Yep.
It's not like, oh my God, she's so incompetent. No. When they do stuff like that, it is planned. They know what they're doing.
Of course, you want to make Trump happy. She's being a good little girl.
Stop the clock and remind the witness of the rules. One rule she needs to understand.
And I'm glad that we're agreeing. So when we're agreeing, we can move on to some other things. But I want you to know that every time she does get these perks, and it's been publicly reported, that the folks she's abused, the survivors who are sitting here, they see themselves as being denied justice. They feel re-traumatized. And I'm glad that we agree on that. But she should not be in that prison. And she needs to be moved back to a maximum security prison as soon as possible. But what she has told another committee here is that she won't cooperate with them unless she gets clemency from Donald Trump.
Not only did she say that, this woman who's a convicted trafficker said that if she gets clemency, she'll exonerate Bill Clinton and Donald Trump.
You know what I think is going on? I think they're keeping Ghislaine Maxwell alive because she is a liability, right? If she goes back to maximum, she's the one that's going to rat you all out.
Well, don't you remember the leaks that were coming out? The birthday book?
Yeah, because
everything stopped when she got to
when she moved from the maximum to wherever she is now, all the leaks stopped. She's gonna stop. She's gonna keep on leaking. I think she's being kept aligned by bigger forces, the people that orchestrate this whole operation. I don't know who.
That begs the question, who ordered her to be transferred to the minimum security prison that she was ineligible for? Who signed off on the special privileges? Was it Mr. Blanche? Was it one of your other subordinates? So please, can you tell us who sent her there, since you don't agree she should be there?
I said I do not agree she should receive special treatment. She was transferred, I learned after the fact, to the same level facility, and that is a question for the Bureau of Prisons. I was not involved in that at all.
That is a lie.
Doesn't matter.
No, that's a lie. She now has the ability to pet a puppy whenever she wants. You know, she does yoga. She has a guard who has to attend to her and make sure her needs are met. In fact, she's so demanding that some of the guards have voiced the fact that they dislike her. Her circumstances have improved a lot. And that's also
100%.
why we don't have any more leaks like the birthday book
100%.
and other evidence she has about Trump.
100%.
So the powers that be that don't want their shit out there, they're the ones who made it happen. And like, there's no way anyone can convince me that Trump didn't do shit with this man. Because the way he's vouching for him, the way he's trying to protect these people who are involved in this is all that. There's an irony too, because in the files themselves, people point to things where Trump was like, in a 2008 police report with Florida Palm Beach, he was asked about this. And you know what he said in that? I think it's very good. They're very bad people. Everyone knew about Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, both of them very evil people. That's how we talked about them back then. Keep in mind. This is also after Trump had already said about him that him and Epstein share a very common interest. The only difference is that Epstein likes them a little more young. So he knew about that man's proclivities. If he knew when they were arrested how evil that was, that means that he knew what they were up to. Fast forward to when he started to become president and he's asked about him. You know what he says? Everyone knew them, but I don't know. So at the time it happened, he knew what they were up to. He called them evil. After the fact, you want to know why he was talking like that?
Because he knew how much they knew.
And remember what Steve Bannon says. He says, if there's one person who can destroy Trump, it's Epstein. How does this man talk about Ghislaine Maxwell, someone who's accused and who's been convicted of trafficking? I wish her well. You wish a child trafficker well?
No, you just don't want to touch that. You just don't want to say something. You don't want to upset her. The president got power, but Ghislaine got more power. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the man's name is in the Epstein file thousands of times. The idea that this man is not a pedo is crazy. Now, if you ask me, would that hold up in the court of law? Of course not. But everyone knew what this guy was up to. Everyone who flew his jets knew what he's about. Trump wrote him really creepy birthday stuff he wrote them this weird-ass fucking haiku on a woman's body. Like, these guys were all disgusting perverts. And your boy Trump, definitely a pedo. You have to have a little cult mentality to still think that man's not a pedo.
100%. It is a part of a cult.
Yeah. And people say stuff like, oh, I don't give a fuck about them. Shit, said Bill Clinton, said anybody else, I don't give a fuck. But you guys definitely worship a pedo. It is what it is. I will never hesitate to think that or say it.
You know, instead of talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, who hopefully will die in prison, you should be talking about Irina Zarutska.
I have a couple
who
of
died
other
on a
questions.
subway.
Right, and I absolutely...
You don't talk about that.
I have been talking about it and actually helping with these issues. But we're going to move back to you.
I bet we are.
Yes, of course, because you're here to testify. That's what the whole point of this...
I bet you are. That's what you're here for, dum-dum.
Well, she didn't think so because she never answers questions.
Yo.
As we've heard, she took the fifth in response to every single question in that committee hearing. And her lawyer dangled the offer of clemency. Should Donald Trump pardon or commute her sentence? Should she be released from prison, yes or no? You said you hope she dies there, so I'm hoping the answer is no.
I already answered that question.
Good. I'm very glad. I really like this bipartisan agreement about
when
what
it
should
agrees
happen
with you. But you don't want to talk about Irina Zarutska. You don't want to talk about
I talk about
murdered
her all
by
the
a
time,
violent crime
but
Pause.
What about it?
That's another thing that I hate. You're not here to ask questions, bitch. Not here to be like, you're here to answer questions. They have questions for you. She's always flinging back questions. Don't worry. She knows what she's doing. She's trying to throw off everything. But I really hate that shit about politics. I remember one day my mom said, "Why don't you go to politics?" She said that. My mom said that. I was like, "Mom, I wouldn't fit. I would die in minutes. I don't talk like them. I don't have the same talk." I'd be like, "Yo, shut your bitch ass up when I'm talking, yo."
One of the most powerful people in the land. Let's listen to this.
Didn't ask Merrick Garland anything about Epstein, not once when he was.
Weak sauce.
And also, I want the record to reflect that, with this anti-Semitic culture right now, she voted against a resolution condemning.
Oh,
is
Jewish.
I
just want to be clear.
Oh,
so you want to go there, Attorney General?
Ooh, bitch!
Are you serious? Talking about anti-Semitism to a woman who lost her grandfather in the Holocaust? Really?
Yeah, you can't pull the anti-Semitic card on a Jew who got ties to the Holocaust. That's an L.
That's an L.
That's like a whole Yu-Gi-Oh match. Bitch, you activated my trap card.
Oh, yeah, big L.
Blue eyes, white dragon on that ass. She went, my granddad died to that book.
My Charmander.
Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that.
Don't, okay.
I said blue eyes, white dragon. This nigga says Charmander. You didn't say Charizard or nothing.
No.
He said Charmander.
My bad. I'm
Well,
sorry.
you want that little fucking flame on the That's
cute. I kind of like Charmander.
That's how you know Preach wasn't on Pokemon like that. That's how you know.
No, I was not.
You know, it's kind of like when I listened to Joe Rogan do the whole pedophile defense for his podcast. The people who used to talk about this stuff, a good majority of them don't actually care because they never want to call out the real names. They don't want to call out the person who's in charge of this whole entire cover-up. They'll be like, oh, this, but like, just own your part. You guys have all the levers of government. You own the House. You own the Senate. You own the Supreme Court. You own the presidency. You could do whatever you want. If you wanted these files out there, they'd be out there in 30 seconds. You guys told everyone. We saw the Epstein list. You told everyone. There's tapes, blackmail. He's the most prolific. You guys were telling us on the campaign. You guys telling everybody on the campaign trail. He's going to get it released.
And then you backtrack. Oh, no, there's nothing.
And then you say, oh, it is real. And then some of y'all say it's not. And then you say, oh, there's no tapes. It was on my desk. And then it's just, these people, they're not serious, but they're all corrupt. It doesn't matter. The truth has never been part of their agenda. They don't care about what it sounds like, what it looks like. They just care about what keeps them in power. So,
and why? Because that's how they get money, more money.
Crime.
That's really what they're doing.
Facts.
They're doing the crime, but they got ties, so they good. Yeah. I'm not talking about the ties around their neck. I'm talking about the ties that they have with each other.
So, anytime you guys meet people from MAGA and they'll be like, oh, Trump derangement, these guys worship a pedophile.
Yeah. That's a weird religion, but people do that.
Yeah, I'm not taking none of their criticisms very seriously because they know that their president deep down what he is. They just don't want to ever admit it publicly. So they go, Trump, you got derangement syndrome. To see all that evidence of him being in all those planes, being that close, him writing them little birthday notes, them all being chummy, them all lying about their access and how much they knew him, taking their family on his island. Now they're all covering up, and you don't think? Then you're the fucking crazy one. That fucking shit's a cult, and I hope everybody involved, left, right, center, green, blue, I don't give a fuck.
It don't matter.
I hope they all burn. Overseas, too. They released 6 names that were redacted. They find up finding out who these people were. There's no reason to redact the co-conspirators. Mm-hmm. That was never part of it, but they want to protect the powerful people.
Yeah.
And now that the names have been released, more people are getting fired, more people are resigning, more investigations, more calls for resignation. So everywhere else, you're seeing the accountability, but in the one place.
Well, it is called the land of the free, so all the pedophiles need to be free. So I guess that's you got to protect them.
That's it. I'll say this: be it the Trump admin or all the senators grilling them, a lot of these people don't take this shit very seriously. You can tell by the speeches. You can tell by the fact that there's a lack of substance. You can tell by the theater involved. It's all performance. Yes, it's a courtroom or whatever. It's a Senate hearing, but the formalities are all just theater. It doesn't feel like anyone's going to be held punished. Like, we go to court as regular citizens, and if we don't answer a question, if we don't do things the right way, we get held in contempt. We go to jail. These people have childish shouting matches while holding the most amount of power. They will yell across the room, not answer questions, filibuster, none of it matters. And there's no accountability. It's a kangaroo court.
And then after that, they turn around and they ask themselves, why don't people trust the system? That's why. I don't even have to do a crime. I have to lie. If it's found that I lied under oath, I could go to jail. But you're good.
Well, why are they good, though? They're good because they get a pardon no matter what.
Because they get a pardon no matter what.
That's what's different.
Mm-hmm. Or
You know,
they're not even going to face anything. You know, even they don't even need a pardon sometimes because there's no consequences.
Because they run the DOJ.
They run it. She runs the game.
It makes
talk
me think
about
of
a
that
pardon.
police meme. What's the police meme? We investigated ourselves and we cleared ourselves
Oh
of all
yeah.
wrongdoing. That's what makes me think.
But that's exactly that.
Yeah.
The police. Crazy.
I mean, it can work when there's some ethics and decent leadership, but this ain't one of them situations.
I've been held accountable more because my windows were tinted than you guys hiding pedophiles, and I'm sick of that.
Facts. Hey, man, I'll just say, man, I feel very vindicated, you know? When I was saying these motherfuckers are cults, when I said this whole thing is more extreme than anything I've ever seen, oh, you're just crazy. Oh, well, you got a whole fucking admin who can't get their story straight and are covering for a ring. Maybe I'm still crazy, I don't know, but if that's your team, good luck, motherfucker.
Republicans, you got all them guns and you don't do nothing about your government, it's crazy. But on January 6th, you were ready to go on. And this don't fucking get you riled up? That's pussy.
I don't even think that the issue for me is that they do something big, is that you can see a lot of them are scared to say Trump's name.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Tommy Riddle.
You'll see Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan will like be a little bit critical, but he'll never say Trump.
Yeah, Tommy Riddle, because the minute he says Trump, he's off UFC. He's off he's
not getting
everything.
off UFC. That's not going to happen. They're not going to kick him off UFC. But it's just like the cult mentality is so strong, and they don't want to anger the base because the base will lose.
You think it's a base?
100%.
Because they try to get rid of certain like talk show hosts. Why would Rogan and UFC be different?
I'll tell you, when you're in a cult, you can they'll have the idea of like free speech and say what you want to say.
Right.
But if you challenge the cult leader, even when he's wrong, you're wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And they all the free speech warriors, you can see, they'll say anyone's name. They'll say, fire Kash Patel. Oh, get rid of Pam Bondi.
Yep.
They'll say all that stuff.
But not Trump.
But I'm like, who hired them? Who gives them the orders? You think that this bitch Pam Bondi's doing this without his explicit orders?
No.
But they'll never say his name. And that's how you know it's a cult. Because they all know it's wrong. They want people fired. Who hired them? Who's the one in leadership? Like,
it is a cult. If it's the profile of everything of a cult. The next step is they all commit suicide. Yeah. All right.